Did you know that loggers have reported supernatural encounters in the woods lately? Turns out chopping down trees for a living isn't all sunshine and lumberjacks with sculpted beards. So grab your flashlights, folks, and prepare to be thoroughly spooked as we unveil the most terrifying, true, scary logging stories. It's a crisp morning in the Pacific Northwest. The sun's barely up, mist is clinging to the towering redwoods, and a lone logger is hard at work, the rhythmic thing of his chainsaw echoing through the stillness. He pauses, wiping the sweat from his brow, when out of the corner of his eye he catches a glimpse of something strange. Another figure, dressed in what looks like old-timey logging gear, is swinging an axe at a nearby tree. Now this wouldn't be too weird, except for one little detail. The figure is translucent like a ghost from a bygone era. Our logger, understandably freaked out, stops to get a better look. The ghostly logger continues swinging, oblivious or indifferent to our living logger's stunned silence. Then, poof, the phantom logger vanishes into thin air, leaving our logger with nothing but the echo of his racing heart and a whole lot of questions. This, my friends, is no isolated incident. Across the logging camps of North America, similar stories abound of phantom loggers appearing out of nowhere, only to disappear just as quickly. Some say they're the restless spirits of lumberjacks who met untimely ends in the woods, their souls forever bound to the place where they fell. Others believe they're guardians of the forest, protectors of the ancient trees. Whatever the explanation, one thing's for sure: encountering a phantom logger is enough to make even the most hardened lumberjack question their sanity. And trust me, the stories we're about to delve into only get weirder from here. Deep in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lies a clearing shrouded in an eerie silence, a place where the air feels heavy with dread, and the trees seem to whisper secrets best left undisturbed. This, my friends, is no ordinary clearing. Locals call it the Cursed Clearing, and for good reason. Legend has it that anyone who dares to cut down a tree within its boundaries is met with a string of misfortunes that would make even the most skeptical among us start to believe in a good old-fashioned curse. The stories vary, of course. Some say it's the vengeful spirit of a Native American shaman, angered by the destruction of his sacred grounds. Others claim it's the restless souls of loggers who met gruesome ends within the clearing, their spirits seeking retribution. Whatever the source of the curse, one thing remains consistent: an overwhelming sense of unease and a palpable darkness that lingers within the clearing's boundaries. Now, you might be thinking, Shane, you're a man of logic and reason. Surely you don't believe in silly curses, do you? And you'd be right to an extent. But I've heard enough first-hand accounts from seasoned loggers, their voices trembling with a fear that ran deeper than any campfire story, to know that something strange is happening in that clearing. Tools break down with alarming regularity, accidents happen with unsettling frequency, and strange, unexplainable phenomena plague those who dare to enter. So whether you're a believer in the supernatural or just a fan of a good creepy tale, the Cursed Clearing stands as a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed. The forest holds many secrets, my friends, and some are better left buried beneath the fallen leaves and the whispers of the wind. Nightfall in the wilderness. It's a time when shadows dance in the flickering firelight and the vastness of the forest closes in, amplifying every creak and groan. For loggers working deep in the woods, campsites become temporary homes, places of respite after a long day's work. But what happens when your campsite becomes the source of the terror? This is the story of a group of loggers in rural Oregon who found out the hard way that some campsites are best avoided. They set up camp near an old abandoned logging trail. Big mistake. As darkness fell and the men huddled around the crackling fire, sharing stories and laughter, a chilling sound pierced the night. Laughter, but not the jovial kind shared between friends. This laughter was cold, detached, and undeniably eerie. It started subtly, a distant chuckle carried on the wind, but as the night wore on, the laughter grew louder, closer, circling the campsite like a predator stalking its prey. Fear gripped the loggers, their campfire stories forgotten as they strained to hear any sound that could pinpoint the source of the unsettling laughter. But no matter which direction they turned, the laughter seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Sleep was impossible that night. The laughter echoed through the trees, weaving itself into their dreams, turning their refuge into a prison of fear. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the laughter abruptly stopped, leaving behind an eerie silence that was somehow even more unsettling. The loggers packed up their gear in record time, eager to escape the unseen terror that had haunted their night. Let's talk about a phenomenon that's enough to drive even the most level-headed logger to the brink of madness. Vanishing tools. I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill misplacing. I'm talking about tools disappearing into thin air, only to reappear in the most impossible locations. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as logging itself. And trust me, it's more common than you might think. Imagine this. You're a logger, working deep in the woods, surrounded by towering trees and the smell of freshly cut timber. You set your trusty axe down for a moment, turn around to grab another log, and boom, it's gone, vanished without a trace. Now you might think, okay, maybe I just misplaced it. But as you search high and low, your frustration morphs into genuine concern, then full-blown bewilderment when you find your axe hanging from a branch 20 feet in the air. This, my friends, is the mischievous work of what loggers call borrowers or gremlins. Legend has it that these mischievous entities inhabit the forests, playing pranks on unsuspecting humans. Some believe they're spirits of the forest, guardians of the trees who don't take kindly to their domain being disturbed. Others think they're just bored entities looking for a little entertainment. Whatever their motives, one thing's for sure, these borrowers are a real pain in the neck. They'll swipe your tools, hide your keys, and even tie your shoelaces together if you're not careful. So next time you're in the woods and you feel a presence watching you, be warned. It might just be a borrower waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And if your axe suddenly goes missing, don't say I didn't warn you. Out here in the vast wilderness, where shadows stretch long and the wind whispers through the trees, it's easy for your imagination to run wild. But sometimes, just sometimes, the things we see in the shadows are more than just figments of our overactive imaginations. This next story is about a shadowy figure, a specter of the woods that has haunted loggers for generations. It starts innocently enough. A logger catches a glimpse of something moving in the periphery, a fleeting shadow darting behind a tree. They might dismiss it as an animal at first, a trick of the light, or even just their mind playing tricks on them. But then it happens again, and again. Each time the glimpse is brief, fleeting, but enough to plant a seed of unease. The figure is always just out of reach, shrouded in shadow, its true nature a mystery. As the sightings persist, the unease grows into a gnawing sense of dread. Loggers report feeling like they're being watched, followed, hunted by something they can't see but can definitely sense. The figure becomes a constant companion, a silent observer lurking at the edge of their vision. What is this shadowy figure? Some whisper of a vengeful spirit, a guardian of the forest protecting its domain from those who would exploit it. Others believe it's a creature of the unknown, a cryptid lurking in the shadows, its true nature a mystery yet to be solved. Whatever it is, the shadowy figure serves as a chilling reminder that in the vastness of the wilderness, we are not alone. And some things are best left hidden in the shadows. There's something inherently unsettling about hearing a whistle in the dead of night, especially when you're alone in the woods. It's a sound that pierces the silence, a stark reminder that you might not be as alone as you think. Now imagine you're a logger working deep in the heart of the Canadian wilderness, surrounded by nothing but towering pines and the echo of your own heartbeat. You're miles from civilization, the nearest town a distant memory. The sun has long since dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows that dance and twist in the fading light. As you gather your tools, preparing to head back to camp, a sound reaches your ears. A faint, almost imperceptible whistling carried on the wind. It seems to be coming from somewhere deep within the woods, the tune unfamiliar, haunting. You pause, listening intently, your senses on high alert. The whistling stops as abruptly as it began, leaving you in an unsettling silence. You chalk it up to your imagination, the fatigue of a long day's work playing tricks on your mind, but as you continue through the woods, the whistling returns, closer this time, clearer. It's a mournful tune filled with a sadness that sends shivers down your spine. You quicken your pace, your heart pounding in your chest, the sound of your own footsteps echoing unnaturally loud in the stillness of the woods. The whistling follows, relentless, as if toying with you. You're not sure what to make of it. Is it a person, an animal, something else entirely? You've heard tales from fellow loggers, stories whispered around campfires about the Whistling Woods, a place where the boundaries between our world and the next are blurred. We've all experienced that unnerving feeling of being watched, that prickling sensation on the back of your neck that tells you you're not alone. But imagine that feeling magnified tenfold, amplified by the isolation of the wilderness and the knowledge that something unseen is lurking just beyond your field of vision. This, my friends, is the terrifying reality for many loggers who claim to have encountered the unseen watcher. It starts subtly, a feeling, a presence that seems to follow your every move. You might catch a fleeting glimpse of movement in the undergrowth, hear a twig snap when you know you're alone, or feel the hair on the back of your neck stand on end for no apparent reason. It's a feeling that's hard to describe, but once you've felt it, you never forget it. As the days turn into nights, the feeling of being watched intensifies. Loggers report feeling like they're constantly being followed, their every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. Sleep offers little respite as nightmares of being hunted plague their dreams. The unseen watcher becomes a constant companion, a silent stalker that preys on their sanity. What is it about the isolation of the wilderness that attracts such phenomena? Is it the lack of human presence that emboldens these entities to reveal themselves? Or is it the vulnerability we feel when surrounded by the vastness of nature? Whatever the reason, the unseen watcher serves as a chilling reminder that in the wild, we are but visitors in a realm far older and more mysterious than we can comprehend. This story is about one such legend, the tale of the ghostly foreman, a specter who roams the camps of the Pacific Northwest, forever bound to the job that claimed his life. Old Man Henderson, that's what they called him, a gruff, no-nonsense man who lived and breathed logging. He ran a tight ship, demanding the best from his crew, pushing them hard but always leading by example. One fateful day, a storm rolled in, bringing with it torrential rain and howling winds. Henderson, never one to let a little weather stop progress, insisted the crew continue working. Tragically, a massive tree, weakened by the storm, snapped, falling directly on Henderson, crushing him instantly. The crew was devastated. They'd lost more than a foreman that day. They'd lost a leader, a mentor, a friend. But Henderson's story didn't end there. Soon after his death, strange things started happening around the camp. Tools would move on their own, logs would shift mysteriously, and the faint sound of Henderson's gruff voice could be heard barking orders in the dead of night. At first, the crew dismissed it as grief, their minds playing tricks on them. But as the incidents mounted, it became clear that Henderson was back, his spirit tethered to the camp he loved in life. Some feared him, his ghostly presence a chilling reminder of the inherent dangers of their work. The year was 1987. A group of 5 experienced loggers ventured into the remote wilderness of British Columbia, Canada, their mission to harvest timber from a secluded valley untouched by modern machinery. The plan was simple: set up camp, fell the trees, and haul the logs out by the end of the week. But as the days turned into nights, an eerie silence descended upon the valley. A silence broken only by the whispering wind and the distant cries of ravens. Back at the logging company, concern grew with each passing hour. The crew was supposed to check in via radio every evening, but their calls had ceased. Days turned into weeks, and the once bustling logging camp stood abandoned, a ghost town swallowed by the encroaching forest. Search parties were dispatched, their efforts hampered by the dense undergrowth and the unforgiving terrain. They scoured the valley for any sign of the missing loggers, their hope dwindling with each passing hour. But the forest remained tight-lipped, its secrets buried beneath a thick canopy of leaves and the weight of the unknown. The search party found the campsite eerily preserved, as if frozen in time. The loggers' belongings lay untouched, their tools neatly arranged, their tents still standing. But of the loggers themselves there was no trace. Theories abounded. Some whispered of a mythical creature, a beast that roamed the remote valleys, preying on unsuspecting souls. Others spoke of ancient curses, of spirits angered by the intrusion into their sacred grounds. But the truth, like the missing loggers, vanished into thin air, leaving behind a chilling mystery that continues to haunt the region to this day. Deep in the heart of every forest, hidden beneath the fallen leaves and the tangled undergrowth, lie secrets Secrets whispered on the wind, etched into the bark of ancient trees, and sometimes revealed through signs that are impossible to ignore. This is the story of one such sign, a warning so chilling, so ominous, that it sent a shiver down the spines of even the most seasoned loggers. They say that on an old logging trail, a trail that had seen its fair share of tragedy and hardship, a sign appeared. A weathered, hand-painted sign nailed to a gnarled oak tree, its message stark and chilling: turn back while you still can. Now, signs in the woods aren't unusual. They direct hikers, mark property lines, and warn of potential hazards. But this sign was different. It radiated an aura of malice, its message dripping with an unspoken threat that transcended mere words. Loggers who stumbled upon the sign reported feeling a sudden shift in the atmosphere, a palpable sense of dread that settled over them like a shroud. Some heeded the warning, turning back and refusing to set foot on that trail again. Those who dared to ignore the sign, to scoff at the implied threat, often met with misfortune. Accidents, equipment failures, and strange, unexplainable events plagued their steps. The woods, it seemed, were sending a message delivered through a simple sign, a message that whispered, "This is my domain, and I decide who enters and who leaves." From phantom lumberjacks to cursed clearings, vanishing tools to haunted campsites, we've journeyed deep into the heart of logging lore, uncovering tales that blur the lines between reality and the supernatural. The woods, my friends, are full of mystery, a place where ancient secrets linger beneath the canopy and the unknown rustles just beyond our field of vision. So the next time you find yourself wandering through the trees, remember the stories we've shared. Remember the loggers who braved the darkness and lived to tell the tale. And if you happen to hear a whistle in the distance, or feel a presence watching your every move, don't say I didn't warn you. Thanks for joining me on this spooky adventure, and be sure to subscribe for more chilling tales from the unknown. Until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and keep a flashlight handy when venturing into the woods. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the campfire's light.